All right, welcome back to Fifth Block Sports. After the holiday break, I know we've been away for a while. A lot has happened in the world of football. Don't worry, we're here to break it all down. We've got college football national championship. We got recruiting recap with Ashton. We got NFL playoff breakdown. Of course, we got the Chiefs breakdown. We'll sprinkle in a little Lions for Jalen over here. And then, like always, we have our pick'em. As always, check us out on YouTube. Listen to us on GoNorthman.org. And check out the other podcast over there, The Chop, for all your Oak Park sports stories and interviews. They're doing great work, like I always say, but go check them out. They're doing amazing things over there. Let's jump right into the show. We got a jam-packed show. You are listening to Fifth Block Sports, Episode 7. We're going to talk about the national championship first. So, college football playoff national championship. Georgia 65, TCU 7, a completely lopsided game. The Bulldogs are good. I think the SEC is good. I heard a stat. The SEC is now 14-3 against all other conferences in the college football playoff. You don't see dominance like that from a conference. I know everyone loves to talk about the SEC, and, if you're in the SEC, they're the top dog. If you're not in the SEC, which I'm looking at Ashton here as a K-State fan, you think maybe the SEC is overrated. So,
I didn't say that. I just said they weren't as good as they should be this year.
Okay. I don't even know how to recap this game. It was a butt whooping from start to finish.
I know. All I knew, I was looking up at the score on my phone. It's like, I looked up Georgia, and I was like 17-7. I was like, oh, TCU might have a chance. I type it again, I see 55-7, and I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa. Yeah. So Georgia, I think, got out to a 10-0 lead. TCU responds. Max Duggan works his way down the field, and QB Keeper scores, and it's 10-7 at that point, right?
No, it was 10-3.
10-3?
Yeah.
I thought they scored a touchdown.
No, I thought it was 10-3, and then...
Well, they ended with 7, so they couldn't have scored 3. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
So they scored a touchdown. It's 10-7.
I thought they were up by more whenever they scored.
I think it was... Georgia went up 10-0 quick.
There's not a whole lot to remember for...
And they score there, and in my mind I'm thinking, okay, there's the response they needed. This is going to be, kind of a back and forth game, but boy was I wrong. Georgia looked as good as ever, I think, in this game. Everything was clicking, offense, defense. You could tell TCU was frustrated. Their top wide receiver had one catch for 3 yards in the game, after going for nearly 200 yards against Michigan. The Bulldogs. And Kirby Smart after the game, was going 1, 2, and then 3. Looking at their schedule next year, and I've got it pulled up here, they've got a legitimate chance to run it back with the team they have. And, the big question was losing the pieces from last year. Were they going to be able to make it back this year? Obviously, they proved that. With Ohio State and Missouri being the only teams to lose by 4 points or less to them. Missouri should have beat them. Ohio State had a chance to beat them. But looking into next year, they start with UT Martin. Then they play Ball State. They go to home against South Carolina. I don't think there's really any threat there.
Well, I would... South Carolina looked really good at the end of the year this
year.
They
did. They were coming on as of late.
Spencer's coming back.
That is true.
So I think definitely... Because this would be their first big game of the year.
Yeah.
SEC game.
It is at home.
So I would just say, definitely...
Maybe one to watch.
Yeah. I wouldn't guarantee it.
UAB, again, a non-conference. At Auburn, those games are always electric, but I feel like Georgia's kind of handled them as of late. Auburn didn't really impress me this year.
They are going in the right direction.
Yeah, they're trending upward.
They had a good class this year.
The question mark I had was Kentucky. I know they're bringing in the NC State quarterback. I don't think that's enough time to go up against a team like Georgia and produce.
They need more. They need offensive line help, defensive line help.
Vanderbilt, kind of the bottom of the barrel of the SEC. They have a bye week. There you go. You get Florida. Those are always big games, but I feel like Florida just doesn't show up in those games as of late. Then Missouri. It's at Georgia. I don't expect Missouri to do much. Hopefully Drinkwitz is on his way out by that point. You got Ole Miss. Oh, yeah. I'm done with Drink.
You are?
He's too much of a cheerleader. He's a decent coach. He's not an SEC coach. And Yeah. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that before I start throwing things. And then they got Ole Miss. Ashton's going to talk about their kind of recruiting class later on. I don't expect much out of Ole Miss coming into next year with, preview of Ashton, what he thinks of their recruiting class. At Tennessee is going to be the big one for Georgia.
It's gonna be a good game.
That'll be a good game. I think so. I think Georgia's got a little more experience that they're going to rely on in that game, and then they finish up with the Georgia Tech game. I don't expect Georgia Tech to put up much of a fight on that one. So they could see themselves right back in the college football playoff. I know it is expanded next year. Is that the year after? Year after. So they could be in the top 4 again and look for a national championship.
Next year would be the
2023.
Yeah, so it's 2024, I believe.
Well, that game was in January. It was 2023.
I think they still call it 2022, though.
Gotcha. Either way, I think they're going to make their way back there. My question is, could TCU, or in this case, any Big 12 team, go 500 in the SEC after what we saw Georgia do to TCU this year?
I mean, I really don't know because SEC schools, I feel like they just have a lot of more coaching
I feel like
experience.
they're just different.
I say their coaching experience is like a lot better than other conferences.
Yep.
So I really don't know.
So I would definitely have to disagree because there's this one team that I like, the Kansas State Wildcats.
EMA.
I think we could go 500. I think TCU could go 500. It's just they look that bad against Georgia.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to TCU, Kansas State. TCU or Kansas State versus Vanderbilt.
That is true. And I think that's what a lot of people overlook is yes, the top of the SEC is very good, but you get down towards the bottom of the SEC, they're nothing special.
We beat you guys.
That is true.
We destroyed you guys.
That is true.
We destroyed you guys.
That is true.
And A&M's not good. Auburn's not looking good. Florida not looking good. We talked about. I don't really like Kentucky. I don't like the direction Ole Miss is going in.
So there's a chance. I think it was a real wow factor. I don't think anybody sure you're going to ask a Georgia fan, we knew we were going to blow out TCU. I don't think anybody expected that type of performance at 65-7. Yeah, I was maybe 42-24.
I did say I was a little worried about Georgia has been there. TCU has never been there.
Mm-hmm.
A little shell shock. So
yeah.
But I wasn't thinking 65-7. I was thinking 35-10.
Yeah.
Or 40-10, something like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking 35 or 65-7.
Just put up a little fight, and it didn't happen. But wow, we got 2 incredible semifinal games. I was satisfied at that point, watching those 2 games go back to back.
I thought
and
Ohio
the points.
State,
oh my goodness! I thought they were too. There's my point: is you're a kicker. You have one job, and that's to make field goals. Just go make a field goal. Yeah, that's all it boils down to. And it is hard. You got the whole nation watching you, pressure in that situation. I'm sure he's made that kick 100 times, and that one got away from him. And you see that from time to time, and it's a bummer that that didn't go in and knock off Georgia. I would have loved to see Georgia get knocked out at that point, but they didn't, and they proved why they're the number 1 team. They survived this year, going undefeated and capping it off with a 65-7 national championship victory. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for that national championship. That was the easiest kind of recap of national championship because there wasn't really anything to talk about other than the future looks bright for Georgia. They got some guys in late. I think their freshman running back ended up scoring 2 touchdowns late, just really kind of going through the motions and finding the end zone. That was Georgia 65, TCU 7 in the College Football National Playoff championship game. Again, Georgia rolls, looking to three-peat. We'll see if they can get it done. Our next segment we're going to stay on the college football side. Ashton has been scouring all his resources for the past, almost 4 weeks now, it seems like. That's how long we've been away.
I was doing live updates on the day because we were expecting to do an episode that week. So
there we go. And so he's got all this information for us. It's going to be our recruiting recap. We're going to throw some questions at you, Ashton, if you're all right with that, and we just want to get your feedback on it. So, Jalen, you want to kick us off with that first question there?
what school made the biggest splash?
I would say my favorite, or the biggest splash of the day, was obviously Oregon. They got about 3 flips, and they also got Mateo Ugalele.
Mm-hmm.
It's DJ's brother, who
Interesting.
transferred to
Yeah.
Oregon State, and he's a 5-star edge, not a quarterback, but he's a
Wow.
5-star edge.
Okay.
They lost Dante Moore earlier in the week to UCLA, who I was talking about pre-show. Looked amazing, and he's probably going to start for UCLA day one. Like, that's how good he looked.
Wow.
Austin Nosad, he was committed to Baylor for about a year, and then flipped on signing day,
Wow.
the morning of signing day, to Oregon. So Oregon was in rush mode to get a replacement.
Yeah.
And then another reason why this is my favorite class, there is 2 guys that have the name Ashton in this.
There you go.
So I'm really excited to see what they can do. They also got 5-star wide receiver Jerron Dickley. He was, I think he committed right after or soon after Dante went, but then he stayed because he saw Austin State, and they also a bunch of other guys went over that day. They did flip Peyton Bowen, but then they flipped Peyton Bowen from Notre Dame, but then about a day or 2 later, Peyton Bowen flipped to Oregon.
I was like, didn't he flip like 3 different times within
Yeah,
the matter of like 48 hours?
He flipped 2 different times. He flipped from
Oh, that's right.
Notre Dame to Oregon, Oregon to Oklahoma. He's going to join Jackson Arnold, which is his teammate from high school. So yeah, I really do like Oregon's class, and they're looking good as well this year to land a good class. So I think they're going in the right directions. But it just depends if Dan Lanning stays there.
What was your biggest kind of head scratcher, team you're kind of worried about, or player you're kind of worried about after this signing day? You had a lot of flips, a lot of I'm committed here and then signing here. What was your kind of biggest kind of puzzler?
So it's actually not even a flip or anything, but it is the best cornerback in the nation, and he's a top 10 player in the nation. Cormani McLean, he does not sign with the Miami Hurricanes after committing in a shock commitment. It was really seeming like it was Florida, Alabama. It was mainly seen as Florida, and he went to Miami.
Miami instead.
So I am very worried about that, because there was the rumor was that he didn't sign because he got a call from Deion Sanders in Colorado. And
Interesting.
he did Colorado. He did something big last year. He could do it again this year, but also maybe some of these teams that like I said, Bama or Florida, maybe they were maybe they got back on the opportunity because they saw that he didn't sign. So we're like, well, even though it looks like Colorado, we're still going to try.
Yeah, might as well.
I'm a little worried about Cormani. He's signing his letter of intent, or what he's signing, announcing where he's going to go on Sunday.
Okay, something to watch for there. What was your underrated class to watch?
I really liked what Matt Rule in Nebraska did this year. His first draft class only had about a month to work, and he did very well. He got my favorite player in this class, the best player, Malachi Coleman. He's a 6'4", 190 pounds. He's an athlete, but they're talking about going to play him wide receiver.
Okay.
He's at Lincoln, Nebraska, so...
Staying home.
I've kind of been I've been watching a lot of the more coaches interviews, like all the coaches, especially like on signing day, and Matt Rule talked about on his first press conference, he was talking about how important it was for him to keep these guys in state, because there's not a whole lot of these Malachi Colemans that are 4-star athletes, big time players that come from this state. So so he talked about trying to keep him in state, and he did with Malachi, which is really good. And he also
sorry, we had a little question from the door there, but so we had Nebraska and kind of wrapping up their signing day. Go ahead.
and also I like they got a lot of positions that they need. They went good on corner. They got a lot of these guys that they got this year played in some sort of All-American Bowl or All-American game. So I think they're definitely one to look after. They were, they are in contention for the number 1 quarterback next year, Dylan Raiola.
Okay.
But he seems kind of like maybe he might be leaning a bit more towards Georgia now, which two titles in a row makes sense.
Yeah.
But still, the fact that second year, or his first overall class where it's going to be him from top to bottom, and he's already competing for the best player in the class is very big.
So it looks like you have down that Ole Miss, didn't do that well this year, especially for SEC standards. Kind of touch on that and what you saw out of them, or more so what you didn't see out of them.
So yeah, I do want to clarify though. I'm not saying they didn't have a good class. I'm talking about for the SEC standards. This was not a good class. Their top 2 players I really like, Certain Perkins and Aiden Williams. I love those 2 guys. Perkins is a linebacker and Williams is a wide receiver. I think Perkins is probably gonna be instant impact. Williams, maybe not instant, but he's gonna play a couple downs, and then next year he'll kind of have a really big impact.
Have that impact.
So those 2 players I like, but they only got 12 players, in which I get quality over quantity, but they didn't get a lot of quality. So that's the problem. I'd rather in the SEC, I'd rather have a bunch of guys that you're like, oh, if it doesn't work out, we just put this guy in. Then, oh, we didn't have a whole lot of quality, but we also didn't have a lot of guys, so we're kind of just stuck.
Mm-hmm. And signing day, I think, is going to change moving forward. I feel like with the NIL deals and the transfer portal, we're going to see players signing other places, and maybe those big schools aren't going after those guys right off the bat, letting them develop, and then their sophomore, junior year being like, oh, enter the portal, we'll pick you up.
I don't know how much that's going to work. I would never do that. But I feel like a lot of these, maybe like Ole Miss does it. But even, talk about transfer portal, they didn't really hit on the transfer portal this year. They got a couple guys, but in their best player, Chris Marshall, who got suspended 2 times this year.
It's true.
So, but with that, I would say a lot of these guys, they would rather develop them in-house.
In-house, yeah.
Than they would
have to reteach them their junior year.
Exactly, but also if you get them freshman year, then you get the playbook, you get the scheme, you get the campus fit, you get you kind of where you're at, you learn how where you are, and I don't know if you'd let a 4-star wide receiver go to UCF, but then now he wants to go to a bigger school. Like, I don't know. I think they'd rather recruit hard, especially a lot of these older coaches, like especially in the SEC. Like, you really see Nick Saban like, I'm not gonna recruit. I'm just gonna let him develop in at some other school, and then expect him to come to the SEC and
perform.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a different game. Quarterbacks to watch. Who you got on your list that could make an immediate splash?
So I'm gonna go with. There's 3 guys here, and all of them. None of them are really going to big time schools.
Mm-hmm.
And you can call me biased with the first one here. I'm gonna start with Avery Johnson, quarterback out of Kansas, going to Kansas State. He had basically you guys know what the Elite 11 is.
Mm-hmm.
He had, I think, out of those guys that were in the final, I think he had the least amount of interceptions this year, and he had the most yards.
Okay.
And he's a bit more of a dual threat. He can get a lot of. I think he got 15 touchdowns this year on the ground, or 12 touchdowns this year on the ground, and the rest were in the air. So he's a bit more of a dual threat. I think he has a lot of potential under what Chris can do, because Chris, our head coach, he was the head coach at North Dakota when Carson Wentz was there.
Okay.
So he has history with developing quarterbacks, and I think he can do a really good job with Avery. And then the second quarterback I'm going to talk about, JJ Cool out of Iowa, and he's going to Iowa State. I watched him in the All-American game practice, and then I watched him at the Elite 11. I think his touch and and his vision is very good, and I think that he's very underestimated. And he moves pretty well for a guy who's 6'7".
Okay.
And I really think he's a guy that you should look out for in the future. And I think he could be, like, we saw what Brock Purdy do. Maybe JJ is the next Iowa State big quarterback.
Yeah. And
then the last one we'll touch on, Aiden Childs, who had a great All-American Bowl game on Saturday. He just looked like he was playing behind Dante Moore, and he just looked like a solid, good quarterback for high school. And he hasn't been playing a whole lot. I think he's only been starting like 1 or 2 years, and I think it's going to be good for him to come in. He's going to be playing against DJ, and kind of compete with that starting job against DJ. And I think it's going to be better for him. I think he could be someone you really look out for. And just one more guy I wanted to touch on. Chris Parsons, Mississippi. He's at Mississippi State. Well, he's going to Mississippi State. He was whenever Mike Leach passed away, he was the guy that said, we should stay here. This is going to be his last class ever, so we should all stay here. But also he did really good in Elite 11, and I think he's a guy that you look out for. He has a great touch. He's a smaller guy, and he has a pretty good lob, and he can get it up in the air nicely for a guy who's six foot.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely a guy you gotta look after.
So again, a lot of signings across the board, a lot of flips, some big recruiting classes from some teams, some average recruiting classes, and then some head scratchers, and that's what you expect every year. But you never really know until the season gets underway, and you kind of see how those players end up, falling and developing at their schools. So we look forward to that, and praise to you, Ashton, for all that work and all the kind of the back work behind that, keeping up with where everybody's going. So well done with that. That was our recruiting wrap up. Again, if you have any questions or any comments, please shout us out on Twitter. Ashton will be happy to debate with you. Who those top recruits are, who had the best signing class and everything like that. So reach out on Twitter or YouTube, and we'll get in contact with you. Let's move into our NFL segment. It's been a while since we've been here, and it feels like, let's see, we had what week 16 or 17 last time we made picks. I think or is it week 15 maybe?
Yeah.
It's been a minute, but since all that took place, we're back.
No, it was week 17.
Was it week 17? Okay. So we're back. The playoff picture is now set. We can kind of break that down. You guys want to start with the NFC or the AFC? What are we going to go with? Let's start with
Let's start with the AFC.
AFC? Let's start with our division, yeah. Okay, so these games, the super wildcard weekend, I guess we're calling it now. We'll start with Buffalo versus Miami in Buffalo. News today is it looks like Tua's going to be out for that game. Miami put up a good fight last time they played Buffalo. However, it was with Tua. Does Buffalo handle business, or can Miami really find a miracle here and somehow win in Buffalo?
I was gonna stick with the Dolphins because I thought Tua was gonna be coming back, but I switched my pick. I got the Bills. How they did the Patriots, but the Patriots really not. They're not all of a good team, but just how they did the Patriots, I'm gonna go with the Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dolphins look terrible without Tua.
They didn't look good.
And I think Tyreek's going to be banged up. Jalen Waddle's going to be banged up, and I think the Bills are just going to handle business.
They both have an ankle injury.
Yeah, and so, going into Week 18, I know there was some speculation that if Miami loses, McDaniels is out. They ended up winning. Yeah, head scratcher, right?
First year?
He
did this good without Tua?
They were going to cut ties.
Wait, wasn't that the Texans head coach first year too, and he got fired?
But they went 2-12.
Yeah.
In one. Now that was a terrible signing. I guess we can talk about it later, but that was a terrible signing. You gave him the worst roster in the league, and you're mad that he won 2-3 games.
Yeah.
And he won an extra game at the end of the year.
What else did you want him to do?
Even if you don't get the first pick, you're going to get C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. And even if say the Bears don't trade down, then you're going to get Bryce Young anyways. It's stupid.
So, with this game, I think if Tua's playing, there's a chance there. And I do want to say for that, I'm glad Damar Hamlin is recovered and out of the hospital. I got the
I
update
got
today.
some
He's out of the
earlier,
hospital.
that got out because he went back to Buffalo. And
Yeah.
and he was in their hospital, and he just got out today, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he's going home.
So that's a great story there. Scary scenes, 2 Mondays ago. You hate to see it no matter what. So I'm glad he's healthy and everything. But, if Tua's playing in this game, to me, kind of going through, that's a lot of emotion and a lot of drain on Buffalo. Witnessing, the DeMar Hamlin
That's
incident.
my first time seeing something like that.
And that, yeah.
I never saw something like that.
It was scary to watch, but if Tua was playing this game, it wouldn't surprise me if Miami ends up somehow pulling this out. Without him, I think Buffalo takes care of business. They move on. Let's take a look at the 5-4 matchup, or the 4-5 matchup. The Chargers at the Jaguars. I'm going to start. Keys to this game, I think the Chargers, how healthy are they going to be? Mike Williams is banged up. They're a completely different team with him on the field. When he's played, he's been electric, making catches all over. Jacksonville didn't impress me too much against Tennessee. I mean, they got the job done, but Trevor Lawrence didn't play great. They squeaked out a win. I'm leaning Chargers in this one, and we'll save it for our pick'em to kind of really break it down. But what are your keys? Let's start with the Chargers. What do the Chargers have to do in order to win this game?
Like you said, stay healthy. I saw some last week that, like you said, Mike Williams went out, and I saw that Joey Bosa was questionable for something, but yeah, that's the biggest thing the Chargers probably need to
Just
worry
stay
about.
healthy.
Stay healthy.
They gotta let Eckler go crazy this week. He has to go crazy, and I'm a little worried because if you're talking, if I was a Chargers fan, which thank God I'm not, but if I was, Rashawn Slater's not playing,
Oh yeah, I forgot.
and
I forgot about that.
the best part about the Jaguars' defense is their D line. And the rest of the offensive line besides Rashawn Slater is not great.
Yeah.
I think I saw yesterday he hit like the 21-day marker for being out, something like that.
Yeah, and they said he wasn't going to play this week.
So let's flip it then. What does Jacksonville have to do to beat the Chargers at home?
They have to limit the pass game, and like I said, pass rush is going to be important. That Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, all of them guys, they have got to get to the quarterback. Because the rest of the team, I'm a little worried,
And early in the year, Herbert, goes down with the injury with his ribs against Kansas City. He hasn't been a runner much ever since, and I think, with their pass rush, if they can turn it up, kind of forcing him to run or forcing him to get the ball out, I think that is a key for them kind of getting in that backfield early.
And I'd say for Jacksonville, the opposite of what I was saying for them to win, or for what the Chargers need to do, or what they need to do on defense, the Jaguars need to get the pass game going.
Yeah, early. I think early.
Lawrence has got to. You got to come out the gate.
Mm-hmm. And he's had moments this year where he looks like he has performed at that level where he can sling it around the park if he needs to.
Really, I just think it was last week. I mean, compared to like the last, however many weeks, I think it was just last week he kind of struggled.
Yeah, and maybe that's credit to the Titans. I feel like the Titans always muddy
like
games up.
They're a physical team. So.
There's just a different style of football. We saw it against the Chiefs too. I mean, it's not pretty football, but they do enough to muddy things up to give them a chance to win. And Jacksonville was lucky enough to execute in the end and score more points. But to that point, I mean, Lawrence didn't look great, but I do remember one play, kind of scrambled out left, and he threw it all the way back across the field, probably a 40-yard pass to gain about 5 yards in actual forward yards. But so he's got the arm talent, and like you said, I think if he gets the pass game going early, that opens up the run game for ETN.
I really like their run game. Travis Etienne,
They got a nice little combo there, and Lawrence isn't a bad runner when he needs to be, but yeah, I agree with you, Ashton. They really got to get that pass game going early. I think to have a chance in this game.
Yeah. I do like though this is going to be their both first time in the playoffs. Like they're starting quarterbacks.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
And I hate like how Justin Herbert. I'm not trying to say he's bad, but like this is his first year in the playoffs out of like 3 years, but he's talked about like he's. Like he's better. He's like the top 3 quarterback in the league, but he's never made it to the playoffs.
I will give Justin Herbert credit for one thing because Mahomes threw for over 5,000 yards this year. I didn't even know Herbert threw for over 5,000 last year. He threw for over 5,000
Oh, I
yards
heard
last
that.
year. I had no idea.
Still didn't make the playoffs.
I see. Saw
make
something that
playoffs.
he's right behind Mahomes in passing yards.
Right behind is in. I think he's about 400 yards behind, but he is number
Well,
two.
yeah.
Number 2 is
Don't knock our boy Mahomes. There we go.
Yeah,
So
you Lions fan.
Hey, I was just saying.
the last game in the AFC for Super Wildcard weekend rematch from Week 18. We have Cincinnati hosting Baltimore. Lamar Jackson should be playing in this game. Is he 100%? We don't know.
I thought he was still questionable.
I think he's still questionable. I mean, if you're the Ravens,
I saw a report that it said he still cannot barely run something like that.
oh, so maybe not. And is it Huntley then? Either way, I think Cincinnati does Cincinnati thing. They're going to move on. I don't think they struggle with Baltimore. From what Week 18 showed, I think for Baltimore to win, they need to get pressure on Joe Burrow early. Have at least, I think, 2 turnovers in this game for them to give him a chance to win because their offense doesn't do much without Lamar. And even with Lamar, he's going to be limited. So he's not going to run as much, I don't think. But yeah, for Cincinnati, I think if they just play their brand of football, they shouldn't have a problem with the Ravens. What do you guys think?
Like you said, yeah, I mean, the Bengals should have no problem against the Ravens. Watching Week 18, there was one play I saw Joe Burrow. He was finna get sacked. He broke it. Finna get sacked again. He broke it, and then I just
He's
saw him
elusive.
took off. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you saying, the Bengals they got this one.
Yeah, I agree with Jalen, but I wanted to ask you guys a question. On the Lamar situation. Big news for the Ravens. They extended Raekwon Smith, who's a 4-year, $100 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
So with this big contract they gave to Raekwon, do you guys think that they're going to sign Lamar? Because if they signed Raekwon before Lamar,
I say that they're probably moving on from Lamar and try to get a quarterback in the draft.
And with the little news around Lamar's knee, every time they ask Harbaugh, he's like, "Oh, he
doesn't know.
He doesn't know." I think they're kind of more worried about it than what they're leading on. And I think I'm going to agree with Jalen. I think they might move on from him.
I don't even think they're worried about it. I just think they don't want to play him.
I started
Do you
having
think
that
they're done
kind
with him? Of just like
I think, yeah, that's what it seems like.
I started kind of have that feeling too.
When he first got injured, it was supposed to be like 3-4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're looking like he's not even going to play in the playoff game.
Yeah.
Like, he was supposed to be back before Christmas.
maybe they had a light bulb moment of like, this is the ceiling that Lamar can take this team. We need somebody else to get to that next level, and maybe that's it.
They didn't like where the roster was, and they didn't want to give Lamar the big contract.
Yeah.
And then have to try and build the roster. So I think maybe they wanted to move on to get some pieces back.
It's man, that's
They're
tough.
missing
That's
the
tough.
wide
Like,
receiver
What
pieces.
what team would do you think Lamar to the Raiders? Ugh.
Ooh,
I saw-
maybe,
The Raiders have the 6th overall pick,
maybe.
so that they got a lot of ground to.
Do you think the Ravens would take the 6th overall pick for Lamar?
Oh well, they had to give more, but I'm just saying like the 6th overall pick would help.
I would.
I saw something about a rumor about Tom Brady too with the Raiders.
And then
Right.
since also Derek Carr wants to move on, Derek Carr 6th round.
Derek Carr in the 6th round for Lamar.
And they would probably have to throw in a couple more, and then like the Ravens have to throw in like a 5th or 6th round pick. But
Yeah.
I think it's something like that could happen.
Yeah, something to keep your eye on. So that's the AFC kind of wild card picture. Yeah, and then we get the I guess the highest, or is it the highest or the lowest remaining seed? I always get those confused. Because the highest seed would be the 1, so we get the lowest remaining seed.
Yes.
Okay, so we would get the lowest remaining seed out of that. So it looks, to my guess, I think we're going to end up
We'll
playing
get
the
to it later.
Chargers. We'll get to it later.
later.
That's true. Let's jump over to the NFC. So let me rewind real quick. Saturday, we have the Chargers, Jacksonville for the AFC. Sunday, we have Miami, Buffalo, and then Sunday night is Baltimore, Cincinnati. Over on the AFC side, Saturday at 4:30, we have Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco is clicking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle scrapes by and gets in the playoffs with Geno Smith.
Barely by a field goal.
I think we can agree that San Francisco should win this game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's flip it. If you're Seattle, what do you have to do to go into San Francisco and win this game?
Gino's gonna have to return back to first half of the year for them to
Have a
get-
chance.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker's gonna have to go off.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of teams has been like running the ball on 49ers because their D line is
Yeah,
like
that defense is crazy.
Yeah.
They're monsters. Yeah, and I think Seattle defense-wise, do you just commit to stopping the run and make Brock Purdy beat you in the air? I mean, he's been solid, but I would put my chips on making Brock Purdy beat me in the air before they hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey 23
I
times.
mean, Brock Purdy can run too, so
Yeah, that is true. I would just rather lose on Brock Purdy balling out than death by a million cuts and having, CMC go for 110 yards. What are your guys' thoughts?
that's kind of tough.
I just think San Francisco has to run the ball well, stop them on offense, get a couple touchdowns on offense, which I think they definitely can do. There's no evidence that they couldn't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And going back to Week 18, Arizona had kind of that fluky first play where they got the long touchdown to A.J. Green on a flea flicker. But after that, it was all San Francisco, and they looked the most playoff ready. I think them and the Chiefs on Week 18 looked the most playoff ready. I know a lot of teams sat some people, but it was a good kind of dress rehearsal for both of those teams. So I think we all agree San Francisco's going to move on there. Let's see. The next game would be Sunday at 4:30. Vikings-Giants. That one's kind of up in the air for me.
I haven't even put in yet because I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think. I don't even know.
I think for the Giants to win, obviously the key is going to be to shut down Jefferson. I think everything from Minnesota runs through Jefferson. Cook may be a little banged up. I know he's kind of injured Week 18.
I think Saquon has to outplay Dalvin Cook. too.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
And this is
Saquon
really-
has to outplay Dalvin Cook.
If you look at Saquon's career, this is his big moment. Up until this point, they haven't been in really big time games. Sure, they have those standalone games, but this is his big moment to on that big stage to kind of prove that he's one of those elite running backs, and he's got a prime opportunity against a Vikings defense who's been gashed by the run here and there this year. So I think, yeah, like you said, Saquon stepping up, them shutting down Jefferson on the defensive side. But for Minnesota, I think you got to find a way to create offense without, in case Jefferson can't get it going. And then your defense has to show up. There's been games this year where they look, uninterested in stopping anybody. Jalen, what are your thoughts on this
I
one?
mean, you saw it in Green Bay when they stopped Justin Jefferson. The offense didn't get anything.
goes
going.
nowhere, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like in Minnesota, it's literally a one man show. If you stop Justin Jefferson, they can't go to anything else. Probably can go to the run game, but most of the time it doesn't work. So
Ashton?
I would say, like I was saying, Giants get the run game going. If Saquon has a great day, and if Jones has a decent day, I think you're fine. I think you walk out with the win. And as
Yeah.
long as if you can limit Justin Jefferson to like 80 yards, I don't see why you don't win.
Yeah. And interesting, I read an article, Jalen bringing up the Green Bay-Minnesota game. I read an article that there's speculation that Green Bay actually watered down the middle of the field for that game. That gave Alexander the state of mind of, I know Jefferson's not going to go to the middle because the field's soaking wet. He's going to slip, so he only had to cover the outside. And maybe that's an edge that NFL teams use. I'm like, that's kind of smart because there's nothing against the rule book. I mean, now everybody's going to say, well, it goes both ways for both teams. But if I'm a cornerback and I know the inside is covered by the sloppy field and I just have to cover the outside, I mean, that's a leg up on any wide receiver. I don't care if you're Justin Jefferson or Justin Watson for the matter of the fact. Like, if that plays into a factor, I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if the NFL will look into it or anything. Interesting little nugget
I
there.
didn't see that. I didn't know that.
That was interesting. The last game for Super Wildcard Weekend, we want to kind of break down Dallas at Tampa Bay. Dallas comes away with, a decent record. Tampa Bay kind of limps into the playoffs after. Are they above 500? Are they 9-8?
They're 8-9
They're 8-9.
because they lost against the
That's
Falcons.
because a lot of
Oh,
their
yeah,
They lost last week.
Their
division.
Their division was terrible. So, so Tampa Bay gets to host this game. Dallas didn't look good against Washington. They've lost 2 straight. Dak has now leads the league in interceptions. Dallas, I mean, they're a good team, but at the same time, like, it wouldn't surprise me. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs. And Dallas's defense started the year very strong. I think have limped through the second half of the season. It wouldn't surprise me if Tom kind of puts a run together. I mean, he turns into a different person in the playoffs, it seems like, every year. What does Dallas have to do to kind of control that and come away victorious?
I see if they can stop Mike Evans, because I saw it was like when they played the Panthers, Mike Evans had over 200 yards, but the Panthers really don't have good corners. But I say if you can stop Mike Evans, and you might have a chance.
I disagree with that. C.J. Anderson, J.C. Horn.
They're not bad.
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn's good. I'll give you that.
He was out. I thought he was out in that game.
Or maybe he was.
He may have been.
But he probably wasn't if he had that many yards. Because J.C. Horn, I don't think J.C. Horn will allow that many yards.
And I know Dallas has Diggs, so I expect to see Diggs matched up with Evans or maybe Godwin in those situations. But, I think it's really going to be up to, can the Dallas defense stop the Bucs offense?
Diggs would probably be matched up against Godwin. I don't like the matchup, Evans.
Evans is a big dude. That is true.
But also, like
It's probably going to be
if you're trying to limit yards, Traylon Diggs is not
Not the guy.
He's
That
not
is
the guy you
true.
want to put him on.
I see
That is true.
Cowboys probably running show too.
Yeah.
Keeping someone over top for Mike
Yeah.
Evans.
Just limit that.
They could do it like Jermaine Kearse or something like that. They could definitely keep a guy up top for Mike Evans, kind of double him all game. Because if you can eliminate Mike Evans, I don't see why he can't win. And as long as you give him, if you limit them for enough time, and you give the D line to get to that, D line's going to get to Tom Brady because he can't run. He can't go away from him.
He's kind of trapped there. That one, I think, may be the most interesting game of the weekend to look at. That and the Giants, Minnesota. I'm interested to see that one.
The NFC has the best 2 games this week, I think.
Yeah.
I gotta assume. I don't think the Bucs defense has not been looking like the Bucs' usual defense, like the top tier defense we know.
It looks like they lost a step or two.
Yeah, it does not look the same.
They kind of lost their edge, lost their chip, lost their kind of grit that they had. Even 2 Super Bowls ago when they knocked the Chiefs out, they looked feisty then, and they really haven't since then. So that kind of wraps up the super wild card weekend kind of breakdown. And again, we'll get into the pick'em at the end of the show, but because we took such a long break, we can't go without talking about our 2 beloved teams. I'm going to turn it over to Jalen. I know he's crushed that his Lions didn't make the playoffs after going in and beating Green Bay Green Bay. They did their job. Seattle takes it to overtime after a missed field goal and ends up winning it in overtime with a field goal. I thought that whole day, man, this is going to come down to, can Detroit win in Green Bay? Which they ended up doing, all for nothing because Seattle ended up winning. But let's kind of break down this Lions team. They're young.
Dude, they are.
They've got a underrated, I think, wide receiver core that, that's going to bring a lot of hype. Do the Lions go out and get a quarterback?
Yeah, I say they do. I say, well, I don't want to really get into the mock draft situation yet, but I say they go and get a C.J. Stroud or trade up to try to get the number 1, but that probably won't happen. To get Bryce Young, but I say they go and get a quarterback.
And I think if they do draft a quarterback, let him learn under Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff's he's kind of like an Alex Smith. He's a game manager. He's a veteran. He didn't play terrible this year. He aired the ball out when he needed to. He found his wide receivers. They've got a great 1-2 punch in the backfield. Dan Campbell's got this team definitely trending in the right direction, and I think they make the playoffs next year. Ashton, what do you see out of the Lions coming up?
I definitely think they'll make the playoffs next year. But if we're talking about, I guess if we want to give a sneak peek of our early mock draft, I would say, because they have 2 first-round picks this year. They got the top 5. I would say you go out, you either get what if their biggest need is also is one of the best players. So if say they need a corner, and they feel like that they're confident enough in a corner to pick early, maybe go get a corner, but then maybe you go like Jalen Carter, Miles Murphy, Tyree Wilson. But I think because they got like a mid first round pick, I think it's like 18th or maybe 20th, something like
I think
that.
so, right around there.
I think you go Anthony Richardson.
Interesting.
If you're gonna, I don't think you go like C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young because I think Jared's done enough to earn one more year.
I think so.
I don't think he's been amazing. I think he's done enough to earn one more year. I think Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, like one of those two guys, are like developmental quarterbacks. You only draft them if you want to develop them. And I guess because they're not in the position to go like a Hendon Hooker or something like that. That's like in a win now mode or whatever. So I would say Anthony Richardson would probably that'd be my pick if I was there.
Yeah, kind of shop around, find that kind of developed guy you want to develop and move forward for the rest of his career. So bright future for our Lions, even though they're bounced out of the playoffs after winning Week 18 in Green Bay. Speculation there, Jameson Williams asked for Rodgers' jersey. Did you guys catch that?
Oh, I saw that.
Jamal Williams.
No, it was Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers. He asked for Aaron Rodgers.
No, I know, but Jamal Williams was the guy that went up.
Oh, did he ask for? So he asked for his jersey, and they picked up. Rodgers said, I think I'm going to hang on to this one. Is he done in Green Bay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could he land with the Raiders? Or is he done with the league? I think he may go on a hiatus, and we might not see him for like 2 years.
Like the Tom Brady situation. It's probably going to be like that again.
Retirement and come back?
Yeah.
I don't know about that because he's not that old. I don't know about he can sit out for 2 years. Like he's not like if Andrew Luck would have sat out for 2 years, he could because he's probably at like 28. I would say Aaron either. I mean, I think he either gets traded or he retires. I don't see him coming back to Green Bay. And honestly, if you're Green Bay, why would you? Like, it's time to start the rebuild.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of time. Unless Jordan Love is good. And maybe you want to build with him, but if he's not, then it's time to start the rebuild.
What year Jordan Love's in? What year is he?
This is his 5th year.
Ooh.
Is it really?
Or it's his 4th year. It's his
Fourth
year.
going
That'd be tough for a
Wow.
contract.
Yep. I think they have to give him a contract. I think this offseason, he'll check.
Wow. And I know, too, in the Green Bay locker room, Alan Lazard was interviewed, and he made it clear that he was not coming back to Green Bay. He's like, He basically was like, I know I won't be here next year.
Which, besides Christian Watson, he was playing like their best wide receiver. I know a lot of people were like, he's mediocre, but he was playing like their best wide receiver.
Yeah. I feel like he was the most consistent throughout the year.
He was getting the most yards for them. Like he was getting the most important yards for them.
Yeah.
I think it was most of the times like a go route to Christian Watson to get like a big play.
So this is next year would be hit like if they want to trigger his 5th year option because he was a 1st round pick.
Gotcha.
But after that he'd be a free agent. Or this year he could be a free agent if they don't pick it up.
Interesting. So Week 18, the Chiefs. We're going to switch over to Chiefs. Week 18, the Chiefs handle business in Las Vegas. They win 31-13. They look dominant. They look playoff ready. Mahomes not a crazy game. He was 18 for 26, 202 yards and a touchdown. I think we kind of rested some guys like discreetly. Pacheco only had 8 carries. Ronald Jones was the carry leader for the Chiefs with 10 rushing attempts for 45 yards, and he found himself in the end zone. Kadarius Toney had 3 rushes for 26 yards and a touchdown.
I love that pickup with Kadarius.
He's coming on strong here, and I think he fits into this scheme that Andy Reid has. He is the trick play guy. Like, he can be anywhere on the field. He can get the ball at any time. Him and McKinnon both kind of have that savviness to them to kind of, get around blockers and keep a play alive. McKinnon finds another receiving touchdown. Interesting stat here. I'm looking at the box score. I'm going down the list. I'm like, where's McKinnon? I know he scored a touchdown. He's at the bottom of the list. Do you know why he's at the bottom of the receiving yards list?
He had 1 catch.
He had 2 catches, 1 touchdown. Guess how many yards?
Oh, he had negative yards.
0 yards.
Oh, he had 0.
He had 0. He caught a.
So that means he probably had negative 3.
So he caught a touchdown pass for 3 yards and then had a negative 3-yard reception. So McKinnon ends the day 2 catches, 0 yards, and a touchdown. How about that?
Nice.
Justin Watson, finally gets that deep ball secured. He had 1 catch for 67 yards. Travis Kelce had 6 catches, 38 yards. Mahomes only completes 18 passes in this game, but we didn't need anything more than that. I think kind of we were resting guys, but not resting guys at the same time, trying to keep fresh. We have the week off, but let's talk about, you guys saw the Ring Around the Rosie play, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was so
You saw the
interesting.
Broncos O-line?
Yeah, he was not happy about that.
Dude, I cry me a river. Oh my! Like, why was he so upset?
I don't know.
Like he
And
They're just trying to have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
what-
I know. Like we were winning like 30 to whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
geez, chill out.
It just and I think that goes to what Mahomes has done in the division. Like everyone's just tired of losing to Mahomes. He's now 16 and 0
He said
against
his
the
biggest thing
division.
going into the offseason is not losing to the Chiefs. I was like,
He's undefeated in the division.
He's undefeated on the road in the division, which is
on
wild.
the road. Yeah.
So think about that. If you're a Raiders, Chargers, or Denver fan, you have not seen your team beat Patrick Mahomes in your own stadium since he's been in the league.
I'm trying to think because I know we lost the Chargers last year.
At home.
at home. It was at home.
I know, but I'm trying to think of like the division games we have lost since Mahomes played. I think we lost to the Chargers. I think we lost to the Raiders once too. We haven't lost to the Broncos.
We lost to the Raiders like 2 years ago in a shootout game.
Yeah, we haven't lost.
We haven't lost to the Broncos in a while.
That's since Manning's played.
Man, I think that might be it.
2015. It was
Yeah, since Mahomes played, I can't think of. Maybe the Chargers got us. I think the Chargers might have got us one more. The Chargers beat us like the last week of the season when Mahomes wasn't playing.
Yes.
Like 2 years ago. I think.
Yep.
And there was one year they beat us in overtime when they had Phillip.
Yes, and they threw that kind of shoulder fade
What was
corner of the
Mahomes-
end zone.
Yeah, Mahomes was.
Mm-hmm.
I was at that game. You know how mad I was, dude. There was so many missed calls that shouldn't have it. That was a passing. That play was an offense passing.
Clear push on Mike
Push
Williams.
off Mike
Yep.
Yo. Mhm.
I do remember that game. So the Chiefs kind of fine-tuned some things for the playoff run. I hate to say this because he's become one of my favorite players for the Chiefs, but I don't think we'll see Clyde Edwards-Helaire play another down for the Chiefs. He has the injury, but they try to get it going for him this year. I think Pacheco has kind of filled that role. McKinnon's there. We would have to sign him to another contract. I love the guy. I've heard great things about him on and off the field. He's a community guy. I hate to lose a guy like that, but we just don't have room for
To
him.
me, I feel like Jared McKinnon is becoming another number one running back now instead of Pacheco.
Yeah.
I feel like it was that fumble and when we played Houston. That's when I feel like Jared McKinnon started to get
The
that
role
number
was kind
one
of switched.
role.
Yep. And, Pacheco, 8 carries, 64 yards. He averaged 8 yards a carry week 18. If we can continue this run game into the playoffs, that's real dangerous moving forward. If you can do both of those things, that frees up Mahomes for a play action or frees up that deep ball every once in a while. And we have those deep threats that can make an impact. I'm excited to see McCole Hardman back on the field, give us another option because it's just crazy to me that we could run out Kelce, Tony, Hardman, Juju, and McKinnon all on the same play.
And MVS.
Who do you cover? Who do you double cover?
And we just got the John Ross pick.
And John Ross too. I mean,
That's why I was like, we're probably just gonna use him for like the jet sweeps.
Well, special teams.
that's true.
Yeah.
But also John Ross. We have to see him.
Yeah, we haven't seen him
Yeah.
play in like 2 years.
Yeah, I don't because John Ross. The name is great, but we have to see him on the field.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me, and you brought up special teams, is I'm not a huge fan of Pacheco back there. Not that he can't do it. I just feel like that risks so much more injury opportunity for him trying to run back kicks. I'd like to see Tony back there maybe, or
No, because he fumbled that one play. against the
oh
Broncos.
yeah, but
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right.
And then that put him in like perfect field position.
that is true. Maybe put Hardman back there again.
After coming off injury.
Why not?
Do you seriously sign
That's
him?
why like it's so hard to.
It is.
Got a
And that's
question-
why people get paid big bucks to make those decisions, and
Yeah.
we're sitting here.
And we don't.
got a question though. Y'all think we resign McCole?
I think so. I think Andy likes him, and before he got hurt, he was really coming on in the offense and kind of finding his role. I think he's always been in that Tyreek Hill shadow. Now that Tyreek Hill's moved on, I think that he's starting to kind of truly find his role. I know he's a big in the community as well. I think we re-sign him, give him another look. He knows the offense. He knows the scheme. I think, to me, he seems like a team player. He doesn't seem much of a diva. But again, when you have a player that has that breakout speed, and we've seen him make big plays, I just find it hard to let those guys go. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm fine letting go of a Justin Watson or
that's what I was.
I mean, honestly, if it was down to MVS or
No,
Hardman.
no, MVS. I love MVS.
Over Hardman?
We got Tony.
We got Kadarius.
That's true.
What?
But I'm saying
Name
we have
another MVS in our team.
Hardman.
No,
I feel like
is Hardman as tall as
he's
MVS?
tall and he can run too. So
That's true. I see your guys' point.
and we got a lot of cap space, so we can resign most
Yeah.
of them too.
Yeah. I text.
I mean, it's great to bring everybody back. I'd love that.
Kadarius Tony, like his juke ability and his speed. He looks like a tall Tyreek Hill. Like a tall.
He really
Tyreek
does.
Hill.
He really does.
That's what he looks like.
Switch him. I think we should switch Pacheco and Tony's number. Just put Tony in number 10. Let him
It's-
jitterbug around.
It's so funny they gave the number 10 to another small offensive player.
I know.
They posted a picture on Instagram of Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill, and Pacheco, and it looks like Hill was just light skinned.
Yeah.
like it was.
When the first preseason game that Pacheco went running out there, I thought I was watching like a replay. I'm like, why are they showing Tyreek Hill? Are we still going to talk about that he's gone? I'm like, oh, that says Pacheco. I'm like,
and his helmet looks exactly
like he's literally identical. But yeah, I think the Chiefs, ended the regular season on a good note. They were loose. They were fresh. They came out and kind of did what they needed to do early to put this game away, so it wasn't a struggle late. The Raiders kind of wrapping up their season, questions at the quarterback spot, who's going to be there next year. But I'm excited for the Chiefs in this playoff run. Hopefully, we see ourselves back in the Super Bowl. That would be awesome.
Go away from our defense. Our defense has been playing crazy.
Yes. Nick Bolton is now the single season record holder for tackles. Man's playing out of his mind.
Chris Jones. I feel like the pass rush has been getting there the past few weeks. George just came on a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still. I feel like a lot of the plays are like. I don't know how much it's him doing it. Like I feel like it's a bit more.
I feel like
the man's getting double teamed every time, and he's still getting there.
I see you.
Bro, I don't know. I'm not sold on him. I don't know why. I'm just not.
I wasn't sold on him until this year, and I feel like this year more than any other year.
Rookie year.
Sorry, I was
George.
talking about Jones. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Oh.
I was on a completely different
Are you
person.
talking about?
I was talking about Chris Jones, not Carlos.
Chris Jones.
Hold on.
Chris
Jones is a
let me
dog.
go back. Who were you talking about?
George Karlaftis.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Chris Jones. Yeah, he gets double team every.
Okay.
I saw one play, he getting triple team.
Yeah. But
Somebody
yes.
got a one-on-one. Like, it was the Bengals game. He got a triple team. No one didn't win a one-on-one at all.
So back to Karlaftis. I missed that name in there. I thought we were talking about Jones. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, so Karlaftis, I'm not sold on him yet, but I think and we saw a lot of this in training camp and a lot of this through the season. I think he's just soaking so much information in. I know all training camp he was working with Frank Clark, who I'm not very high on, but he's got skill that he can learn from. But I think if you let George kind of pick the brain of Chris Jones, give it a year or two, he's going to be that edge guy that gets home and is almost like a Max Crosby in a way. I know he's not as big, but he's quick and agile enough. And I think he's just sitting back and kind of picking the brain, picking up a little things here and there.
But I mean, hey, maybe Raiders want to go rebuild, and they like, hey, Max Crosby wants a new home.
Did you see his Instagram post?
He posted a picture with a Chiefs helmet.
Yeah, I saw that.
I would hope.
I didn't see that.
I would hope it's not trying to mock the Chiefs because we destroyed them in that game. We
did.
They haven't beat us. So I would hope it's not. He's not trying to mock us.
I feel like
I'd take a Max Crosby any day. Dude can play. But I will say Max Crosby, to me, is the definition of a Oakland, Las Vegas Raider. Like, if I think of a Raiders player, it's Max Crosby.
Yeah, he's a little too cocky, though. Like, we were beating him by 20. He was on
celebrating the
sideline
sack.
like that.
Yep, I saw that.
I would say though, a guy I would like to see play more is Leo Chanel, the linebacker, rookie linebacker. I
Yes.
would like to see him play.
Yeah.
I think he comes in like when teams start to run the ball a lot.
Yeah,
That's when he comes in.
Yeah, but I think get him in a couple more games. I mean, obviously the playoffs are probably not going to happen, but I would like to see him next year playing some more games.
I really like
Yeah.
our linebacker core though. Nick Bolton, Willie Gate, and Leo Chanel. They're really good.
So, fun fact, I learned this over the weekend. It was my brother's birthday, January 8th, as I swallow my own tongue. My brother's birthday, January 8th, so happy birthday, Drew, if you're watching. We got him a Nick Bolton jersey. He goes to Mizzou. We're like, oh, we'll get him a Nick Bolton jersey. Did you know that until a player is off their rookie contract, they don't make the sewn-in jerseys? I did not know that. So you can get a Mahomes, you can get a Kelsey, the stitched jersey, like the real deal. But any player on a rookie contract, they won't make a sewn-in jersey yet. So I was like, oh, that's a little kind of interesting fact from the NFL. I mean, sure, you can find them, not NFL shop ones, but through the NFL shop and through Rally House, I think, they only make the screen printed ones, which, I mean, a jersey's a jersey, but at the end of the day, I was like, oh, that's a little nugget I didn't know the NFL kind of did or didn't
Yeah,
do.
because I was trying to think, like, it seemed like Mahomes,
You
like
could only get the screen printed ones there for a while, and then
but
once he signed his contract.
I thought he had the sewn for so long, but he got his rookie year so early in his contract, so that's
Yeah.
his new deal so early on in his contract, his rookie contract, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I was like, that's interesting.
2019.
2019.
After we won the Super Bowl.
So that was kind of our Chiefs breakdown. I know we
Technically,
kind
it would
of,
have been 2020.
yeah, kind of dove in there. They look good, ready for the playoffs, and now it's everybody's favorite time. I don't remember which button it is. We're going to just click a button and hope.
Oh,
We're
let's
going to
talk
hope
about
it's the right one.
Derek Johnson, Jerry Maclin, the people that got.
Oh,
into,
the College Football Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Eric Berry.
So we have Jeremy Maclin, Eric Berry, and Derek Johnson making it the College Football Hall of Fame, all former Chiefs. Where did Derek Johnson
Tim
go to?
Tebow and Reggie Bush made too.
Yes. Where did Derek Johnson go to college at?
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
No, that was Eric Berry.
Berry went to Tennessee, I know. Maclin went to Missouri.
No, Derek Johnson went to Texas. I think it was
Maybe it was Texas.
Texas or Tennessee.
Ashton's doing a quick Google here.
Yep, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas. So congrats to those three
Wrong orange.
electric players in college. I remember growing up watching Jeremy Maclin. I actually have a Jeremy Maclin jersey.
I
a
met Derek
jersey.
Johnson in person once. He was big.
Yeah.
He scared me.
I've got a picture of myself when I was like 10 with Jeremy Maclin and in the Mizzou gold jersey. We used to go to the
You were
MUK
10?
game. I think so, when he was at Mizzou.
Really?
Maybe I was a
He
little older.
left college
12?
2010, right? 2009.
I think so.
Well, yeah,
maybe I was older than that.
Because
Maybe
you are
14
you
or
are
15.
younger. Because
20
Jerry Maclin
27
retired.
now.
Like he retired on the Ravens.
Yeah.
I remember him because he was my dad's favorite player. He loved him. On the
He was
Chiefs.
good here though.
Yeah, he was. And he was electric.
Really good. Dad, he would always talk about imagine Mahomes with Jeremy Maclin. Yeah.
Yeah. And, going back, I'm going to tie Jeremy Maclin at Missouri was kind of the human joystick, or what we think of as Dante Hall. He played wide receiver. He returned punts. He returned kicks. He was kind of that utility guy for Missouri. So good to see him make that Hall of Fame. And Eric Berry, of
Kind of
course.
like a Tavon Austin.
Yeah,
West
same
Virginia.
at West Virginia. Yeah, Eric Berry, elite safety / corner for Tennessee, and then with the Chiefs as well. He did some great things,
One of our best
both
players ever.
in and out of the community. Fun fact: I saw Eric Berry. It was literally like 2 days after he signed his big contract with the Chiefs. He was at the Apple Store, and I was like, "Oh, he's just spending his check." It was around Christmas time. I see him at a table, and I walk up to him like. I was young at the time. I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm like, Mr. Barry? And he's like, you can call me Eric. I'm like, how's it going, Eric? Like, this is cool. And I was like, can I get your autograph? He's like, yeah, sure. So he signed a little football I just happened to have in the car. My dad went and out and got it. He signed it for me, took a picture with me. And then we look over at this table. He had bought 20 iPads. And he said, I'm giving away for Christmas. I've got a toy drive. And part of that is I love to give back to the community. And so these Apple workers were sitting iPad after iPad on this table. And he just had bags on bags. And everybody's just like, wow. Like, it was his first couple of years in Kansas City. And, he's been a community guy ever since. So I'm glad he got that recognition because truly is a good guy. And all that he went through and came back to the league, good, and kudos to him.
Real quick, I just want to ask you guys this. I was thinking about it over the weekend. Is Tyreek Hill our best wide receiver ever in Chiefs history? Like I thought about like how many guys can really compete with him. Like the one guy I thought of off the top was Dwayne Bowe.
That's the name that came to my mind, but I don't think he was even close.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, because from college, Tyreek Hill was a running back. Came to the NFL as a wide receiver. What he had to do to change from a running back to a wide receiver standpoint, that's I feel like Tyreek.
I think he is our best receiver we've ever had.
He may be
in franchise history.
And you go
and if
you look. The problem is too, like, we haven't had dominant receivers, but we've had a Travis Kelce or a Tony Gonzalez, those tight end guys. But I think I would be on the boat of Tyreek Hill as the best receiver to come through Kansas City.
If he wouldn't have said all that stupid stuff he was saying in the offseason, I would have been mad that they gave Pacheco his.
You watch like Club Shay Shay with like Shannon. He was talking about how he could have stayed in KC, but it was all
about the money.
Like, his free agent saw how much money he could take. Free agent was like, oh, we can just go here.
Yeah.
Because the agent, that's the only thing he cares about. Is you should. I don't think you should ever listen to your agent when it comes to it. He's literally his only job is to make money off of you.
I was gonna say he gets a chunk of that money, so why wouldn't he say, "Hey, go here. I get more money if you go here."
Exactly.
It does put a smile on my face, though. I know I love Tyreek Hill when he was here. He did a lot of great things for us. We kind of gave him that second chance. But every time I see the stat that Jared McKinnon has more receiving touchdowns than Tyreek Hill this year, I do kind of smirk. It's like, we really didn't need you. But, I mean, it sucks to lose you, but we really didn't need you.
He's on a losing team, so, like, going from a winning team all the time to a losing team.
Yeah.
Just got to be.
Recently been a losing team.
Yep.
Just got to be, like.
We're playing the Dolphins next year. They're coming here.
They're coming here. I saw that.
He's going to get booed. I don't want him to, but he's going to get booed.
He may get booed. Let's jump in.
I feel like
go ahead.
KC have a lot of respect for Tyreek Hill.
No,
so I don't see.
But I'm talking about all the stuff he said. If he would have just left, that's why they didn't retire his number. I think it's because all that stuff he was saying about the Chiefs and how he was being pretty disrespectful for it.
Yeah.
We gave him the second chance when a lot of guys weren't going to take him.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw in Club Shay Shay, he was like, oh, sometimes games I didn't get a lot of reception. I look back, I'm like, dude, you had most reception out of all of the receivers.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I only got like 1 or 2 targets a game. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and also
we were trying to force feed you the ball.
When he was going through his drama a couple years ago, it turned out not to be true, but we were supporting him. We weren't. A lot of people were saying release him, trade him, all that. We supported him. We keep him on the team.
I mean, ultimately, we gave him that chance in the NFL.
and we did this, and he does that to us in the offseason. It's disappointing.
I'm glad it didn't blow up into more, because I think if that would have been the drama all season, I don't think we're at the position where we are. So credit to the Chiefs organization for just kind of moving on to that and not responding to that and, worrying about themselves. And I think that's what the Chiefs do really good is, worrying about what they can control and, just the people within the franchise. And I think that has given us the success we have, and credit to Andy Reid and his staff for kind of preaching that every day. But yeah, and I think we're, like I said before, we're in a good spot heading into the playoffs. And with that, do we want to go through our playoff pick'em?
Yep.
Let's do that. Okay, so first game we have is the 5 seed.
Real quick, we're not going to do like the whole playoffs, are we? Or
we're just doing wild card weekend.
I was going to say, because we could do whole playoffs and then we'll just do.
Let's just go round by round. We'll make it easy. So the 5 seed Chargers at the 4 seed Jags. Let's go in reverse order. Ashton, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Jaguars.
Ooh.
I like them. I think Lawrence is gonna have a great game, and I think the Chargers are gonna find a way to charger it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna stick with the Jags.
I have the Chargers written down. I'm going to stick with it. You should coin that phrase, though, charger it. I think Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler find a way. The Jags didn't impress me too much against the Titans. And, like we talked about, maybe that's the Titans just muddying up games. I think the moment may be a little too big for Trevor Lawrence right now. And Justin Herbert, I think.
I'm going to come and stand.
Whoa.
You can't be
whoa.
Listen.
Hold on now.
Listen. It depends on if Mike Williams come back. If Mike Williams come back, then I'm going to go with the Chargers.
But who are you going with right now? I
got
need a pick.
The Jags.
Okay,
the
he's
Jags.
going with the Jags. All right, that was the first game. Second game, Dolphins, the 7-seed Dolphins visiting the 2-seed Buffalo Bills.
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 Mafia. As Pardon My Take says, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Next game, 6-seed Ravens at the 3-seed Bengals. Bengals take care of business. Like we said, we don't know if Lamar's going to play. If they want to play him, who knows? Bengals all around. Moving into the NFC, we have 7-seed Seahawks at the 2-seed 49ers.
Niners.
Too much elite level play, 49ers. Next game, 6-seed Giants at 3-seed Vikings. This one's going to be interesting. Ashton, who you got?
I think Saquon's going to have a great day. I'm going with the Giants.
I saw you had Giants written down, and I was looking at your screen. I was like, is he going to flip? Is he not? Is he going to flip? Jalen?
I'm going to stick with the Vikings.
Oh, he's
if
gonna stick
it's
with
not
them.
a one-man show, then I'll stick with the Vikings.
I've got Giants written down. I'm going to stick with Giants. It wouldn't surprise me if the Vikings win. Maybe lack of experience gets the Giants here, but I think they're going to shut down the Vikings. I'm not too high on Kirk Cousins in big games, so I'm going to stick with the Giants. And our last game for Wild Card Weekend, 5-seed Cowboys at the 4-seed Bucks. Ashton, who you got?
Look, there's nothing more I want than the Cowboys to lose in the first round. I would love for them to lose in the first round again. But Micah Parsons, man, that team, the Bucks are not a playoff team this year. Like they should not be a playoff team. No matter what team won the AFC South, it shouldn't have been a playoff team.
Yeah.
Including the Bucks. And I'm not sold on them. I guess Brady could have a great game, but they have been terribly offensively, absolutely terrible. Did you guys watch the Christmas game between the Bucks and the Cardinals?
It was
Down to the last second.
And it was just like a blah game.
Yeah, it was. They had it was 6-6 or 9-9
Yes.
going into halftime.
It was like, do you want the ball? No, I'll take the ball. Do you want it? All right.
I'm just going with the Cowboys.
I might have to change my pick on this one. You just reminded me. The Bucks, their O-line is not that good this year. And the Cowboys' defensive line, Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and the other guys, I might go with the Cowboys on this.
Go with the Cowboys. All right, he's flipping to the Cowboys.
All flip.
You know what? I'm gonna keep the Bucks. I don't like Tom Brady, but Tom Brady in the playoffs just have something to do with it. I'm not high on the Cowboys. Like Ashton said, I love seeing the Cowboys lose in big moments like this because they spend so much money on that team and can never figure it out. I'm gonna stick with the Bucks. They somehow get this thing done. I think it's gonna be an ugly game, just like a sloppy. It's going to come down to, I think, a couple final plays, and I trust Tom Brady more than Dak Prescott in kind of crunch, high-pressure moments. I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Don't get me wrong, though. Early pick 'em. If the Cowboys get past, Cowboys lose the second round. No matter who they play. I'm choosing against them.
I see Tom Brady get frustrated in this game because of the pass rush that's going to be coming at him. So I see the Cowboys coming out with this win.
I kind of want to ask you guys this. Knowing what we know about injuries and all that,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know if Lamar's going to play anything like that. So, don't say if this happens. But what do you think has the biggest upset potential out of these games?
Ooh, that's a...
Because I wouldn't say Giants Vikings is an upset because we all we know that this can go either way.
I think the Baltimore and Bengals game, it could be the biggest upset.
Even without Lamar, I would lean
or
towards
Miami because they don't have
that. I was going to lean towards Miami. I think
I would honestly lean towards the Seahawks. Maybe Brock Purdy gets a little shaken up first playoff game. He doesn't. He never played in a playoff game. I mean, he definitely. They're probably not, but that would be my big upset to watch. Is I think maybe the Seahawks kind of over-experienced them.
Yeah.
Because they are a young team. They don't have a whole lot of
Tyler Lockett is back, right, too?
Mm-hmm.
They got more weapons. Yeah, that might be that's going to be a good one.
I'm going to go with Miami. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I think,
you believe in Skylar Thompson because you're a K-State fan. That's why.
That's why. Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson.
I think some, and like I mentioned before in the show, Buffalo's been through a lot in these last 2 weeks. And they played well against New England. They had the 2 kick returns. Their energy's high. But, classic saying, what goes up's got to come down. And I think all the emotion, all of the adrenaline, everything kind of culminating.
You think Miami can?
I think they're going to go trend downwards with just everything that they've been in the spotlight for these 2 weeks with the Hamlin situation and everything. I think that's going to catch up to them, and it could be this week, it could be next week, but I think Miami's got enough weapons and enough playmakers that they could get it done. I don't think they will, but I think that would be the game that we look for an upset the most.
Waddle is. Are they still questionable
Both
or are they playing?
questionable.
Okay.
I think they'll both end up playing. Either way,
It's an
I
important
doubt
game,
they. Yeah,
so-
I doubt they sit out a playoff game.
Jalen Waddle's questionable. Tyreek Hill doesn't say anything.
Yeah, he's.
I think they
he's
both
playing.
play.
It's an important game, so.
Yeah, we'll see.
So that was our pick 'em for the Super Wild Card weekend. I think that really covered everything this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. Come back, check this show out. So if you're listening to me now, obviously you watched this whole show. I hope you enjoyed it. We're back after a long holiday break. I hope everybody had a good holiday season, got to see family, watch some amazing football. Basketball's getting into swing. Let's see everybody back here next Wednesday. We can break down all the games that took place this weekend. Get ready for the next round of the playoffs. We can kind of dive into what that top 10 mock draft might look like next week. Give you a little insight to that, and obviously dive deeper into it. Maybe start sprinkling in a little college basketball. Pull in some college basketball experts. Maybe have a couple more guests on the show.
College basketball experts. We have them at the school.
Do we have any? Yeah, thank you all for watching today. Again, today is January 11th. This is episode 7 of Fifth Block Sports.
If we're gonna have college basketball experts, they need to talk about how great K-State is right now.
They are hot. And my Mizzou Tigers.
K-State's better.
So again, thank you for watching. Again, check us out on YouTube. Listen to us on GoNorthman.org. Check all the work out they're doing there. We will see you again next Wednesday. See ya.